Governor Ivey has signed 2 bills to prepare Alabama for possible changes to the congressional and state Senate districts tied to ongoing court battles over redistricting. That's where we start. I'm Caleb Aguayo. The new laws allow the governor to call special elections if federal courts approve the use of previously drawn district maps. State leaders say the move helps Alabama respond quickly if current injunctions are lifted. The May 19th primary election will still move forward as planned, but special elections could be called later in districts affected by any court-ordered map changes. While some Alabama leaders applaud Governor Ivey's decision, other leaders gave statements in disapproval of the signing. Democratic U.S. Representative Terry Sewell, Alabama's 7th District Representative, said, quote, "This is a dark day for the state of Alabama. To be clear, the state of Alabama remains under federal injunction, which prevents the state from redistricting until 2030, end quote. Republican House Speaker Nathaniel Ledbetter said in a news conference that he hopes the courts will reverse the injunction, also saying, quote, "I applaud the governor for calling us in and giving us the chance to revisit that. What happened here in Montgomery with that seat probably should not have happened to begin with," end quote.
Changes to Alabama's district maps moving forward following approval from both chambers in Alabama's legislature. House Bill 1 and Senate Bill 1 aim to allow special elections for 2 districts if the Supreme Court lifts the injunctions. The legislature now looking to redraw the maps as they await the higher court's decision. Here in Alabama, back in 2023, was a landmark Supreme Court case ruling that the state's 2021 congressional map violated the Voting Rights Act. The Supreme Court affirmed that the state likely violated Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act by packing black voters into a single district, limiting their ability to elect additional representatives and diluting their voting power. SCOTUS ruled that Alabama must draw a new map featuring a second majority black district. Fox 54's Gabe Glassman caught up with groups who traveled down to Montgomery to protest these changes.
2 bills that can impact the future of Alabama's elections have been given the stamp of approval, but while the legislature continues to discuss redistricting, protesters who travel down to the state capitol say there's still questions needing answers.
The waste of taxpayer dollars when we already voted on an amendment that said we wouldn't make changes within 6 months of an election. So the spin is just hard to believe.
The proposed map would give Republicans an extra seat in the United States Congress, giving the GOP nearly complete control. But some Republican leaders want to take it even further, flipping both Democratic seats with a brand new map. Former U.S. Congressman Mo Brooks weighed in on these changes, saying Alabama should fight for full Republican control.
I would much prefer that the Republicans in the House and the Senate come up with a redistricting plan for our congressional delegation that better reflects the percentage vote that Republican candidates get statewide in the state of Alabama, particularly in light of what the Democrats did in California and Virginia in discriminating against Republicans and redistricting, gerrymandering to give them what I would call an unfair advantage.
These changes will only take effect if the federal courts vote to lift the injunction preventing Alabama from using a different map. In Huntsville, Gabe Glassman, Fox 54 News.
2 other bills are still being discussed in the special session that focus on redrawing district lines. Changes to Alabama's district maps are moving forward following approval from both chambers in Alabama's legislature, but it hasn't been smooth sailing. This all comes after the U.S. Supreme Court's decision last week in Louisiana versus Calais, which ruled Louisiana's congressional map relied too heavily on race, weakening the Voting Rights Act. That ruling also called into question a previous ruling on Alabama's congressional map, which forced the state legislature to add a second majority black district. Now, Republican leaders are calling for the Supreme Court to lift the injunction, meeting in special session in preparation of the Supreme Court's decision. Throughout the week, protests have broken out inside and outside the state capitol, looking to have their voices heard. Fox 54's Gabe Glassman caught up with the local group who made the journey back home this afternoon.
Potential changes to Alabama's future elections continue to be debated in the state capitol in Montgomery. That's where a group of local protesters is coming back from Thursday afternoon, saying there are still questions left unanswered. Dozens of local protesters making their way home after a trip to the state capitol this week, and they're feeling disappointed after seeing two pieces of legislation pass, both potentially impacting Alabama's upcoming primary election.
They're saying they're going to throw out the primary election results in certain counties, and so it's going to be confusion. It's going to be a loss of funding that could go to much better things such as childcare or groceries. It's just going to be a disservice to the citizens of Alabama.
The state could go back to an old district map from 2023, giving the GOP nearly complete control, but some Republican leaders want to take it even farther, flipping both Democratic seats with a brand new map. Former U.S. Congressman Mo Brooks weighed in on these changes, saying Alabama should fight for full Republican control.
I would much prefer that the Republicans in the House and the Senate come up with a redistricting plan for our congressional delegation that better reflects the percentage vote that Republican candidates get statewide in the state of Alabama.
You're seeing states go full blue, you're seeing states go full red, and I want to fully condemn gerrymandering. Fully. It's bad on both sides. And the only reason the Democrats are doing it is because the Republicans have done it. And so to say maybe, oh, what about Virginia? Yeah, that shouldn't be happening either.
The changes are pending votes from the federal courts to lift injunctions currently preventing Alabama from using the old maps. The message from the opposition: follow the law and do the right thing. In Huntsville, Gabe Glassman, Fox 54 News.
Two other bills are still being discussed in this special session that focus on redrawing district lines. The city of Huntsville is taking legal action to shut down several short-term rental properties, claiming they're operating illegally in residential neighborhoods. The lawsuit also alleges those properties failed to pay required lodging taxes. The city filed the complaint in the Circuit Court of Madison County, targeting Casago International and entities operating as Patriot Family Homes. 7 properties are named, including locations on Oak Glen Terrace, Boswell Drive, Bradley Street, and Knox Creek Trail. Fox 54's Valentina Chalala explains the city's zoning laws and neighbors' concerns.
This is one of the properties named in the lawsuit, in a neighborhood where the city says short-term rentals aren't allowed to operate. Now they're asking a judge to shut them down and pay those taxes back. Under city rules, short-term rentals defined as stays under 180 days are limited to specific zoning districts. Several of these properties are located in areas zoned for single-family or residential use, but are currently listed on sites like Airbnb and VRBO. City Council member Bill Kling says those zoning rules are carefully considered to protect the character of neighborhoods and control where short-term rentals can operate.
People have been complaining about noise. They've been complaining about large amounts of coming and going traffic, and it is disruptive. So that is why under the zoning that we have, they're allowed only in certain types of neighborhoods, but not every neighborhood.
Residents living near these properties say the issue isn't constant, but noticeable, with some, like neighboring resident Jalen Griffith, saying narrow streets can get blocked when multiple cars are parked near the properties.
One thing I did have an issue with, sometimes I park right here and it's kind of hard for me to back out trying to go somewhere.
The city also claims the property managers never obtained required business licenses, which are mandatory for any short-term rental operating within city limits. Griffith says many of the guests appear to be workers or contractors who do not tend to stay very long.
They would probably stay for maybe it seemed like a few weeks, so probably about a month or two maybe. And then it'll be quiet again, then some more people come, then it'll be quiet again. And sometimes during the holidays, families and stuff will come too.
The city says state law gives it power to enforce zoning rules, asking a judge to permanently stop these properties from operating as short-term rentals, and is also seeking rental records to see how much in taxes wasn't paid. In Huntsville, I'm Valentina Chalala, Fox 54 News.
City Council member Bill Kling says he believes the city has a strong case, saying it comes down to protecting residents' right to quiet neighborhoods and addressing complaints about noise and traffic in district communities.
Pratt Avenue turned into a neighborhood soundtrack today as Porch Fest brought thousands out to 5 Points. Front porches became stages, with local artists playing everything from acoustic sets to full bands as people danced in the streets and supported local businesses. Now in its 6th year, founder Judy Spiva Allison says the nonprofit event has seen major growth, expanding from just 5 porches and about 1,500 people to nearly 10,000 attendees and 10 porches this year.
We have so much local talent that's amazing, and we really want to highlight that and let people see what we have in Huntsville. We also have bands from Birmingham, Nashville, and regionally from Jacksonville, Florida that come up with us. But we have just so much talent here. We were born into rhythm, and we need this to live. And for me, musicians are essential.
Spiva Allison says donations raised today will support Sound of Mind, a new program aimed at supporting mental health for musicians and those working in the music industry.
I feel the need for speed. It's the quote from Top Gun. And you could be hearing it around the U.S. Space and Rocket Center more often if new legislation from the U.S. Senate passes the House. The Maverick Act, bipartisan legislation by Senator Tim Sheehy of Montana and Senator Mark Kelly from Arizona, wants to transfer 3 F-14D Tomcats to the Space and Rocket Center. Among the 3 aircraft is one from the 1989 Gulf of Sidra incident, shooting down 2 Libyan MiG fighter jets during a dogfight. The bill, if passed by the House and signed by President Trump, would transfer the fighter jets to the Space and Rocket Center and allow for one to possibly return to a non-combat flyable status, but the museum would have to foot the bill for the restoration. FOX54 reached out to the museum about the act, giving us a statement referencing Senator Sheehy's past experience at Aviation Challenge, saying in part, quote, Senator Sheehy is a multiple-time graduate of our Aviation Challenge and Space Camp programs. So he has firsthand experience in how inspirational aircraft and space artifacts can have on future pilots and explorers. The Rocket Center is the proud custodian of multiple aircraft that serve as tangible learning tools for our Aviation Challenge students. We look forward to the House voting to allow the Rocket Center to receive these vehicles and begin planning for their future use as part of our programs. FOX54 also reached out to Congressman Dale Strong, who in a statement added, quote, there is no better home for these historic aircraft than the U.S. Space and Rocket Center in Huntsville, Alabama, a world-class educational institution that inspires tens of thousands of students each year. I look forward to these pieces of American aviation history calling Alabama home, end quote. The U.S. Space and Rocket Center currently has 1 F-14 and F-14A, which starred in the original Top Gun film. FOX54 will keep you up to date as this legislation makes its way through the House before landing on Trump's desk.
Welcome back. For many, the simple act of walking is something taken for granted. But for those living with myositis, every step can be a victory. Today, the Huntsville community gathered at the U.S. Space and Rocket Center to illuminate the struggles of this rare autoimmune disease. Myositis is a complex group of diseases that causes the immune system to attack the body's own muscles, leading to chronic inflammation, severe weakness, and in some cases, life-threatening lung complications. Our Logan Alexandra Russell was at the Space and Rocket Center today as advocates from across the country took a giant leap toward a cure.
Under the towering shadow of the Saturn V rocket, a mission of a different kind was underway this morning. While the Rocket City is known for looking towards the stars, these advocates are focused on shining a light on a rare battle.
It's a very debilitating and very sad and lonely disease because it's rare. And so I was a kindergarten teacher before, and I always want positivity and joy and shining a light. I wanted this to be a positive event, something different than the other events that they have for myositis.
Benita Moyers founded the Myositis Moonwalk 3 years ago.
Hey, Huntsville, we're taking over.
What started as a small local gathering has exploded into a national event, drawing patients from as far as the West Coast to find the one thing a rare diagnosis often seals: community.
I may not be able to walk as far as I want. I may be on oxygen. I may need to have a portable oxygen machine, but I can still get on a plane and I can still have fun and I can still be there to support my friends.
The 3 Myositis Musketeers, as they call themselves, used this year's event to launch the shuttle Scuttle. It's a high-energy scooter race around the Pathfinder shuttle, raising money for grants that provide life-changing equipment. For Jason Hopfoff, who traveled all the way from Seattle, the physical journey is long, but the emotional payoff is immediate.
People will look at you and go, "Oh, you look fine today." That's debatable at times. But you know what? that's why we're here. That's why we came together.
The message to those watching at home was louder than a rocket engine. Even with a rare disease, you are never launching into the unknown alone. In Huntsville, Logan Alexandra Russell, Fox 54 News.
The moonwalk fell on the first weekend of May to kick off Myositis Awareness Month. All proceeds from today's event go directly to myositis support and understanding to provide financial assistance grants for patients in need. You can find a link to their resources on our website, fox54.com. Right now, food truck owners often need separate health permits and fire inspections for each county they work in. And while the process isn't difficult, it can take time.
It'll take away from me having to wait on, the approvals from other counties and having to run all over the place. So it definitely would be more time consuming if I didn't have to do that.
Permits can cost several $100s per year, often needing multiple approvals depending on where they operate. Food truck owners say approvals can take up to 2 weeks, making it hard to plan events, especially when bookings come together last minute.
When you're trying to plan your season, and it may be an event that you really want to do that's 2 or 3 days, and you don't even live in the area, you have to find their jurisdiction.
Some locations also fall into gray areas, where it's not always clear which county has jurisdiction, adding yet another layer of confusion for vendors.
Madison and Limestone is one of those gray areas, especially off of County Line. You have right across the street, then is now Limestone County.
For many owners, it's about spending more time serving customers and less time dealing with paperwork.
Dump it in the kettle, like so. We add our oil. It's all corn oil. Corn everything.
Cynthia Darden, owner of Hustle and Pop, says missing the right permit can lead to penalties. Under state law, operating without valid inspections can result in a Class C misdemeanor, with fines of up to $500. Having one statewide certification could make the system more consistent for both vendors and inspectors.
One inspector may ding you for this, but another one may not ding you for the same thing. But having that one across the line, I feel like will make it a lot more uniform.
Under the new law, food trucks will still need to meet strict health and fire safety standards, including proper equipment, gas systems, and routine maintenance checks, but only once for statewide approval.
Tonight in Muscle Shoals, city leaders took up two major issues that have been at the center of recent debate: an ethics investigation into Mayor Billy Hudson and a controversial plan for a new sportsplex. Both items drew attention over questions of transparency, cost, and how the city handles large-scale projects. Fox 54's Valentina Chalala brings us to Muscle Shoals.
The first item passed through the council aimed at authorizing an outside investigation into the mayor. But Mayor Billy Hudson says he has not been officially served with any complaint.
I haven't done anything wrong, so it's not going to matter to me. I'm just going to tell them the truth and we can go from there.
The council unanimously approved the outside investigation, although it's unclear what the allegations against Mayor Hudson are. Next up on the agenda, the Sportsplex, a proposed multi-use recreation complex that would include athletic fields and community facilities for local and regional events. Tonight's discussion focused on questions over land appraisal, property ownership, and whether local tax dollars could impact school funding. Muscle Shoals Mayor Billy Hudson says he paused the 2024 sports complex contract over lack of progress and taxpayer concerns. But the city council has now voted to overturn that decision and move forward with review. Supporters say the sportsplex could bring new tourism and revenue to the city, boosting local businesses and development in the area.
The amount of revenue that's going to be in the city, your restaurants, your gas, your lodging, bringing in new hotels and things like that, and just getting people in the area.
Council member Gina Clark says the council supports moving forward with the planning of the sportsplex, noting that around $1.3 million have already been spent on the project to purchase more than 57 acres of land.
They talk about schools and they talk about giving employees raises and all those things. Well, the more tax revenue we have, the more we can give toward the schools and the more we can give toward the employees. It kind of all works together.
Opponents of the sportsplex say they're concerned the land has not yet been properly appraised, raising questions about whether the city has verified a fair market value before moving forward with the deal. They also warn the project could impact school funding and lead to higher taxes for residents. In Muscle Shoals, I'm Valentina Chalala, Fox 54 News.
Not everyone was able to share their thoughts on the Sportsplex during tonight's work session, but the City Council says they will open the floor for additional public comment at the next meeting scheduled for May 18th. By land or by water, Decatur Fire and Rescue can now respond to emergencies wherever. Check this out. The department unveiled Marine One, aka Daniela, named after General Joe Wheeler's wife. The unveiling this morning at Ingalls Harbor. The vessel allows firefighters to respond to emergencies as needed and comes with a deck gun that sprays water at 1,500 gallons per minute to help contain marine fires. Fire and Rescue Chief Nathan Springer tells us that the boat will allow first responders to respond to local emergencies faster also.
Before receiving this vessel, the two closest boats of this capacity, well, there's one in the city of Florence and one in the city of Guntersville. And so we did not have the capabilities to effectively operate on the river until now. And so what this does is it gives us the opportunity to not only affect, possible boat fires, boat accidents, but also serve our industry along the river, and also when medical emergencies occur. It also gives us that chance to get to those victims quickly and get them to safe grounds.
That's pretty cool. Well, while Marine One has already made some responses to emergencies, she will officially begin service for Decatur Fire and Rescue Monday. It's National Small Business Week, a time to celebrate the entrepreneurs who bring character and creativity to our communities. In recent years, we've seen a shift towards sustainable shopping, but one local boutique in Madison is taking it a step further. For this business, it's not just about what's on the shelves, but how you take those products home. This business is making history as North Alabama's very first refillery, encouraging customers to ditch single-use plastics in favor of a more circular economy. Fox 54's Logan Alexandra Russell takes us to Lemon and Lavender in downtown Madison.
On Main Street in downtown Madison, the scent of fresh herbs and essential oils hits you before you even cross the threshold. But once you step inside Lemon and Lavender, you'll find more than just eco-friendly gifts. You'll find a revolution in a bottle.
I feel like our mission is so much more than just selling cleaning products and gifts, that we really want to create relationships and educate and the whole experience when you come in, because it's all about, with small businesses, building relationships with our customers.
As National Small Business Week highlights local entrepreneurs, owner Brandy Booth is celebrating through a unique milestone, operating North Alabama's first refillery. The concept, she says, is simple: reduce waste by reusing what you already have.
You come in, you just put your container on the scale, whether you're bringing your own or one of ours, weigh it, just scan it, and that captures the tear weight, and then fill it with whatever you want to fill it with. Take it to the register, give them the little scanner, they put it on the scale, scan it, and the system subtracts the tear weight from the final weight, and then that way you're only charged by the weight of the contents inside.
From household cleaners to all-natural fiber clothing, every item contains toxic-free ingredients. But Brandy says the real secret to their success isn't just the products on the shelves, it's the community sharing their vision. As Small Business Week continues, the message in downtown Madison is clear. The future of retail might just be in the refill. In Madison, Logan Alexandra Russell, Fox 54 News.
And if you want to check them out, Lemon and Lavender is open Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Sundays from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. You can bring your own clean jars from home, or you can purchase glass jars at the store. Madison County Schools honored one local woman just this morning for providing critical life-saving care to an elderly man after he suffered a heart attack while running a marathon. The event unfolded here at the Oak Barrel Half Marathon in Lynchburg, Tennessee, where several people jumped in to help until ambulances could take the man to a hospital. Fox 54's Keila Paguayo shows us today's hometown hero, Heather Alford.
A local couple was in the Oak Barrel Half Marathon about a month ago when disaster struck and runner Lynn Collier fell to the ground suffering a heart attack. Collier says he doesn't remember any of the event itself.
I was basically out from the time I hit the ground. I don't remember anything until waking up in the emergency room 8 hours later or something like that after some surgery.
But his wife, Sarah Green, remembers it vividly.
I remember all of them giving him the compressions and
and knowing how hard they were working to try to bring him back.
All Collier knows is it was the help of good Samaritans like New Hope Elementary School nurse Heather Alford that kept him alive that day.
I wouldn't be here. Obviously, I would not be here if it wasn't for her and several others that all jumped in, right place at the right time, and willing and capable of doing the right things.
And that's why New Hope Elementary School celebrated Alford with the Hometown Hero Award, saying it's the work she does every single day that makes her work stand out in the school and in the community.
It means a lot. You know, nursing is pretty selfless, and we're day in and day out, and no one really knows what all we do, and for it to be recognized and honored, I mean, it's really special.
But Alford says saving Collier's life was a group effort among her and several other bystanders, adding she owes her success to the others that jumped in to help.
I believe I was just at the right place at the right time, exactly where I was supposed to be. In an event like that, nobody cared. Everybody just jumped in.
School principal Catherine Woolsey adds it's the practice Alford gets every day that makes her able to jump in when it's needed.
We've had some situations with students and staff, and she's of course the first responder on site as we're calling for an ambulance. Out here in New Hope, it can take several minutes for an ambulance to get here, so it's critical to have somebody with her expertise here.
And that's what makes Alford a hometown hero. In New Hope, I'm Caleb Aguayo, Fox 54 News.
What a story. Collier still plans on running, but only after he's finished with cardiac rehab. In addition, he and his wife donated $500 to the school for nurses' medical supplies. This Huntsville teacher, I've learned, stepped in and stepped up when there was a need. A woman of faith, she came in during a critical time for second grade students, going above and beyond the four corners of her classroom. Meet this week's Fox 54's top teacher, Ashley Tibbetts from Holy Spirit Regional Catholic School. Welcome to
Going to show you a walk.
Ashley Tibbetts' second grade class. If you take a look around, you'd think she's been here a few years, but it's only her first at Holy Spirit Regional Catholic School.
They were in desperate need of a last-minute second grade teacher.
And it's where she stepped in, taking on a full-time teaching gig for the first time in more than a decade.
Both of my parents were both educators, so I think that's where the teaching came from.
Tibbetts believes it's important to make learning fun, especially for her second graders, which is a big year for Catholic school students. First reconciliation and first communion.
I really try to do things, whether it's hands-on activities to commemorate special moments in their lives. We also have pen pals from Uganda, which they have exchanged pen pal letters with them, and we're trying to set up a possible Skype call so that the kids can meet each other.
Interim Principal Susan Fletcher says Tibbetts is consistent with keeping the core of the Catholic faith in her curriculum.
She, just like the other teachers, she weaves her instruction through religion, some way that she can tie religion to whatever she's teaching to keep the thread going and to be a role model to those students, just like she will be to the cheerleaders.
Tibbetts says she wants to continue to build her faith as the foundation for her students.
I love that a Catholic environment can provide children not only with an amazing academic base, but also that faith-based component of it, where you can really educate and empower the whole child.
And as if there wasn't enough on her plate already, Mrs. Tibbetts will spearhead the cheerleading squad next year. Congratulations. Check out the moment she was surprised as the Fox 54 top teacher, plus her full interview on the Fox 54 app. Download on your TV, watch for free, and don't forget, nominate a deserving teacher on fox54.com.
Fox 54 Plus has your news, sports, and weather. Start your evening with Fox 54 at 5:30, delivering the latest headlines and live reports straight from the scene. Then, stay informed with Fox 54 News at 9, featuring your Tennessee Valley certified most accurate weather impact team, tracking everything from tornado threats to traffic delays during severe weather. Fox 54 Sports Extra brings you more of what sports fans crave, with deeper insights, expert analysis, and all the action that matters most. On Fox 54 Plus, you'll also find Alabama politics, Plus, 24/7 weather radar and real-time forecasts to keep you ahead of the storm. Looking for a quick recap? Don't miss Fox 54 Week in Review, highlighting the biggest stories of the week. Jumpstart your morning with Morning Rush. Fast-paced news updates, featured with uplifting stories from across the globe. Get your entertainment fix with Getting Real, where we break down movie reviews, top 10 lists, and spotlight the newest film. Die Hard fan? Locked On Sports dives deep into the Crimson Tide, the Tigers, college rivalries, and pro action. True crime warrior style? Killer Cases brings you gripping real-life stories that stick with you. Hungry for more? Cooking with Style serves up mouth-watering recipes that are easy to make and impossible to resist. From movie previews before you head to the theater with Take a Look to must-know headlines from across the region and around the world with In the News. Watch all of these shows on demand and also on the Fox 54 News app. Available on Android and iOS devices. Streaming 24/7.
County 911, what's the address of your emergency room? Okay, your wife is in a bar, you said she's unresponsive?
This is what he's going to tell you. How to get out of that situation.
And I grabbed the gun.
Trying to find the first place to put a body. No, sir. The only thing they could do was kill him.
You want to say anything? We, the jury, and to find the defendant.
There's more to Fox 54 Plus with the Locked On Podcast Network. From the Tide to the Tigers, from college teams to pro, the Locked On Podcast Network gives you insights and analysis you just can't find anywhere else.
These kids, they want to play.
But I don't think so. I think it was Chad Baker-Mazzara.
Locked On Sports, streaming every day of the week and right here on Fox 54 Plus.